Okay, this is great. Thank you so much for making it. I'm so grateful. You must be so tired in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a morning person, so I usually get up a little early, so it's fine.
Okay, oh good. Okay, perfect. Because I'm a morning person too. And I feel like, once when the brain is fresh, you just kind of want to crack on with stuff. So thank
Yes, very true.
you. In the morning. Are you at the moment in Colombo?
Yes, I am.
Oh no, awesome. How is the weather there?
It's pretty nice. I mean, we have like a usual like constant weather throughout the year, so I would say it's nice. It's around I think 27 degrees.
Okay, but very similar like in here. Although it was raining early in the morning in Hong Kong. But anyway, was volunteering with Redress. That was basically helping out organizing the panel.
Oh
And
wow, that would have been really nice.
but yeah, your collection to me like completely stand out, and I absolutely fell in love. I actually have your collection in here, like
Oh,
ready.
great. Thank you. Even I couldn't get a copy still. That's nice to see.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I had to keep it. It was actually the upcycled the tent that we made. That was
Uh-huh,
fantastic.
yeah.
And I remember I was putting it on like one of the figurines, and I was like, "This is so cool! I mean, it's so genius, and it makes perfect sense." So I I I knew that I had to reach out basically to you like for my project, which is called Creative Women in Hong Kong. But obviously, I wanna connect with more people who identify as female. Basically, that's why I have that X in there instead of a name. Yeah, just to basically create this nice networking opportunity for people, to find out more about your work and get inspired and all of these kind of things. Um, yeah, this is pretty much just my hobby, really. So it's something that I do, but it's expanding wildly now, and I'm so happy that people reach out and want to do more collaborations and want to get to know the artists, that I interview as well and all of the creatives. So I just, I feel like I'm this kind of like platform where I'm very grateful to provide to all of the creatives. So thank you so much again for doing this.
No worries, my pleasure. Thank you very much. I would love to talk about the collection. I feel like it's a good way to sort of inspire a lot of people, and
Yeah,
being a sustainable designer is part of that, like really educating everyone else to be sustainable and wear sustainably. So I think, yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
no, of course, absolutely. So we're gonna get right into it, and I have so many questions, but let me know if you're time limited because sometimes I can get very carried away. But I will try to be very direct and very clear. So, but I first wanted to actually ask you about the. I'm so sorry for my pronunciation. Meet Camilla event, the catastrophic event of was it a waste landslide basically that happened in Colombo, I think, in Sri Lanka.
It's in a suburb, a little far away from the city, but it's in the suburb of Colombo, and it's like an area where there are a lot of low-income earners, and I
Mm,
think that was one of the reasons why they actually settled there because of the garbage dump. Like even if you pass by near that area, the smell, it's I don't know how they live there every day. It smells really bad. So air quality is very, very bad. And I think it's they live there because of the affordability as well, because it's
mm,
very expensive to live in the capital. And since these people have like daily jobs and people who are like doing a lot of labor jobs, I think that's why they have settled there. And yes, it's quite closer to the capital, and basically all the garbage from the city's limits just end up there sometimes.
mm, mm. Okay. But what exactly like struck you about this place that made you realize that you want to focus on sustainability?
So there was a garbage landslide. I know it's
Mm,
just when you speak about man-made disasters and it's just right there. Whereas we usually think about like a natural disaster and some like you connect it to get to uh, like activities done by people and then it happens as a result if you think about natural disasters. But this is
mm,
like a direct issue where it happened because of excess garbage dumping. And if you see the area, you see like huge mountains, like literally mountains of
mm,
garbage. And there was a garbage landslide where, I mean, the figure of people, the number of deaths is actually not very clear because different articles says different amounts, but
mm,
roughly it was around 9 to 13. So, like people who literally got buried under garbage. And this is all sort of garbage to food waste, to fabric, to paper, and like everything, because
mm,
it's an issue in Sri Lanka. There is no proper garbage disposal, and we tend to like put everything together and just get rid of it. So that's a big issue. And as a
mm,
result of that, it's very, like just say, if you have garbage mixed with polythene, fabric, and then food waste, at the end of the day, it's very hard for the garbage to sort of get decomposed. So because of that, it keeps on adding up the pile. And this is not like solid earth or anything. It's just garbage piling up. It's just loose material. And it's very
mm,
easy to just create sort of friction in the mountains because there's nothing to hold on to. So that was a very unfortunate event. And that's when I realized, although we are a little island, we have a very big garbage issue. And also Sri Lanka being one of the like one of our biggest ways of income is apparel industry. So we have a lot of textile waste where we don't really have a proper way of getting rid of it. So
mm,
most of that garbage also ends up in that landslide, landscape, which occurred because of the garbage mass. So
mm,
that was very alarming. And right during that time, I went to another garment factory to take a look around because I was a fashion student. And then I realized there is a lot of rough cuts, which really doesn't get anywhere. They sort of like, it's like, that thing like which no one wants to talk about. You have this all fancy branding and so much money spent on
yeah,
editorials and front, magazine front covers, but you just really disregard about where your garbage is, the garbage you're making. You just slowly sweep it under the carpet. And this was an event because you put too much under the carpet and it had to come out. So that was just really sad. And the worst part is, I think people weren't taking any responsibility as well. Everyone just want to like forget about it and move on. But it's very,
mm,
very unfortunate.
yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you. Like, is government doing something about it?
I mean, right now there is like a very big economic crisis going in the country, and that's like their least concern. They wouldn't really even think about it. So
Yeah,
it's just really sad, how the living quality is reducing every day for everyone, and like because of the economic issues, people are just, treating lives as something which is not very important. And yeah,
yeah. Mm. Because everything is all about the pace, the fastness, the energy, the dynamics of being fast and growing and very violent with like creating.
exactly. Yes, and the other thing is like if you take like all these big brands,
Mm,
like like a lot of brands they are producing here in Sri Lanka, and I'm sure they don't really think about what happens to their garbage. But like if you are a really a sustainable brand without any greenwashing, you should really look at what happens to your garbage and all your, remaining what impact you create in this another nation. So yeah, it's just
Mm.
sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it feels like your collection and your outfits have so much to say about this. So I was first wondering, like, how did it start for you to actually pursue career in fashion, or like, why was it your like first target to express yourself through fashion?
So initially, I was going to be an architect, and then when I was studying halfway, I sort of like in the library ended up looking at all these fashion magazines, and I sort of like started really explore fashion, and always saw fashion as like more of a form of art where you
Mm,
can communicate your message because there is a strong because if someone's wearing your clothes, then they are literally a walking canvas. You can really communicate your ideas through the person.
mm,
And when I joined fashion school and when I was studying, I think towards my second year, that's when this unfortunate incident happened. And after that, I realized that fashion industry is one of the biggest environmental polluters in the world, and it's quite alarming. There is something
mm,
very ugly behind beautiful things. So that's why when I wanted to really use things which are already discarded and try and give it a new life and make a new meaning for it that it won't end up in a dump or someone's
mm.
backyard.
Yeah, so I think that's brilliant for you to realize because I feel like it also puts like a mirror in front of people what everything Sri Lanka is actually doing regarding fast fashion as well, and the labor and all of the hard work that comes with it and the wastage that stays within the country and no one else is doing anything about it. But yeah, it's a whole kind of like a very complex cycle. But have your family encouraged you to do that? Do they share the same values? How do they see the sustainability?
Yeah. So, although I live in the city, I'm from this beautiful village towards the eastern part of the country.
Mm,
And so my parents are there, and especially my father is like always with the nature. He's like, he loves outdoors, and I used to grow up with him, and he used to like upcycle things like empty cans and everything. That was his like for his plant nursery. He always used to upcycle stuff like that. And even my mom, she always like encouraged me to do what I like. And she always says that if your motives are pure enough, then you'll get somewhere. So
mm.
those both of them, they kept on encouraging me. So yes,
Okay, that's very encouraging because usually you hear, from mostly like Asian families, that like, oh, you don't know if this is gonna make you money, and if this is gonna keep you going, and they very doubt it, especially when it comes to
yes.
creativity.
Yes, I
So,
mean that is very very true because like I think it was a very rare case. My parents are very different. I would say they're very logical, both of them. So
mm,
initially, because I got very good results for my O levels,
mm,
like I had a lot of social pressure saying that I should be a doctor or an engineer. So
right.
then my dad was like, I don't think that's for you because you're very creative. Because from like very younger days, I used to create things and like
Mm,
I was like a very creative person. And then he was like, maybe you should do arts and it will make you happy as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it should be something
mm,
which makes you happy. So
mm.
I think it's really helped me to understand myself and to really bring out the best in me. So yes, I'm very very thankful to have very open-minded, logical parents.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. That's brilliant. Um, So coming back to your roots as well, I know that your collection is also very much about the South Asian heritage. So I was wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about how does it look, how do you create it, how do you perceive it, and also like if there is something about it that can be sustainable about the heritage as well.
So, if you speak about Sri Lankan heritage and sustainability, I think most of the countries in the Asian region, we have had like a long relationship with sustainability because it
Mm,
was really, injected into our culture that you don't really see it as a new subject because it has been already there.
mm.
So, and like example, even the zari, where it's like a 6 yards of fabric and you utilize the entire fabric. And just
Mm,
like that, in Sri Lanka, we had like this very uh, deep and developed textile industry where I sort of got distant away with this fast textile making methods and fast fashion influences. So,
mm.
I mean, I personally am a textile designer, so I design a bit of textile the old way as well. And in my current collection, I have used fabric which comes from this factory where they get rid of all the excess sample yardage, as in so if they bring down here around 10 yards of fabric by the end of the garment is finished, they have like around 3 to 4 yardages left. So they usually put it into a storeroom to store away.
Mm.
So I use that fabric, and the thing is like the fabric composition of it, it also is like recycled polyester and like organic cotton, and there is a sustainable aspect attached to it. So I just was upcycling things which is already sustainable.
Mm,
So,
mm.
and as a decorative element, I have used handmade lace, which is also a heritage craft, which comes from the southern part of the island, where these ladies get together and it's like they create lace with bobbins. It's called bobbin lace. And
Okay.
so that has been their livelihood for many years because there are families who are solely depending on this craft. And I think it's very, very important to empower these women as well to give an opportunity to earn some extra money. So I think that's why I love working with all these crafts women who are trying to make their families stronger by doing all these crafts. So that's a craft aspect of the garments and also where the fabrics come from.
Okay. How did you find this group of women? Did you come there in person or reached out with someone, or how did you connect with them?
So when I was in my second year, we had this project in my fashion school to collaborate with artisans, and
Mhm.
that's how I got to know about more about crafts and how to really work with these communities all around Sri Lanka. So it was through my design school.
Ah, okay, that's amazing. Oh, clever from the school as well. That's
Yes, it's a really nice initiative.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So coming back to the fabrics that you mentioned, where all of the fast fashion is happening, I was wondering what would you tell to the people who keep buying fast fashion because you always hear this argument like, oh, but I'm a poor student and I can't afford it, and this is the only thing that I can have and that I can own, and still like stay fashionable, I guess. So what would you tell them?
So basically, I mean, yes, when you're a student, you won't have much money, but then again, the thing with fast fashion is like it's so seasonal that like you need to buy a lot of things in order for you to wear it in the long run because the quality is really bad that it will wear out very fast. But if you really invest in a good piece with like that, all that money is spent around like in like 10 garments. If you save that, and if you get a really good garment, then you can have a way of sort of, saving more money by wearing it for a very long time. And
mm,
also, if you join like an initiative where you do clothes swaps, or if you are like sharing your garments among your friends, then you're being sustainable and you're not really encouraging yourself or anybody else to buy more things. I mean,
mm,
I think shopping would be like a very good thing to do when you are a student, because I have done that a lot. Like I have a sister, so we always share our clothes, and even with my friends, I tend
mhm.
to do that sometimes. And
Yeah,
so that's really nice. And like investing your money on like a very good like a garment. Just say you buy a very well made a black dress, you can
mm,
really pair up with anything. You can like style it up with jackets or like nice shoes, or you can like accessorize it and make it fancy, or you can
mm,
even like wear a skirt under it and make it a top. So it's just about being really creative and not really, making yourself telling yourself that, buy something new, you have a new event coming up. It's
yeah.
all about being creative and coming with a way of like reusing whatever you already have.
Mm, mm, definitely. And that's where the creativity needs to kick in, right? To
Yes.
just explore a little bit more with whatever you already have. And yeah, I think that's amazing that you guys already figured that out as well. Um, so talking about your home, your collection is called Take Me Home. So I was wondering, what does home mean to you?
So basically, home for me is like being outdoors, because like it's really nice. You feel, I mean, no matter how busy you are, and once you go to a place with a lot of trees, so when you go home, that like tiredness sort of fades away. And what I meant from home was that like the place where I'm originally from has a lot of trees and like a lot of nature around me. So that fresh air, when you breathe it in, you feel like you're a new person. And that sort of take me home. And when you really look at the garments and line up within the collection, those are garments which encourages you to be out there, like camping tents and convertible bags into hoodies, and like reversible garments which you can like go out and just wear it. And so it's very simple. And I
Mm.
have added some like padded jackets as well. That's encouraging.
Well, to show.
Yes, this is very, very versatile, because I mean it's a gender fluid garment as well, because I
Mm,
tend to wear very functional garments once I go home, because it's easier to be out there rather than just, wearing
mm,
very feminine clothing. It's nice to wear something gender fluid and explore the outdoors. So that was the whole concept behind it.
definitely. Yeah, I love that, especially in this time and age when the politics are about being equal as well. I really love that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Is because it gives me a little bit of like a very stylish hiking experience as well. Um, is it something that is popular in Sri Lanka that people go out to and reconnect with the nature as well?
Yes, I think one of the most upcoming tourist ventures is having like adventures and being out there, outdoors. And
Mm,
special part about Sri Lanka is that although we are a very tropical country, towards the middle of the country, we have very nice mountains, and you can do a very good hiking journey in like a short trekking, but then you'll have like a really nice landscape out there. So there are a lot
mm,
of people who wants to go camping and also climb these mountains. So
mhm,
yeah, so I think that's why it's very special. And I think in any country, you get people who are interested in going on trekking and really exploring the nature and to connect back with the nature. So it was like meant for everyone.
Mm, mm. Yeah, definitely. We can really sense it from that. 100%. So I wanted to speak to you also about a little bit more about the technique that you applied to this collection. So you used the 3D software to basically test the zero waste traditional pattern. So I was wondering, how did you use it and how does it
Yes.
actually evolve?
Sorry, I didn't follow you. Could you please repeat the first part again?
Sorry, sure. So I wanted to speak to you about the technique
Mm-hmm.
and the way how you developed and tested the collection. So you used the 3D software,
Yeah, 3D
uh,
software.
to test the zero waste and of the traditional patterns. So I was wondering, how does it look like and what exactly did you do?
So it's very easy to have like your idea like out on the screen to see visualize it rather than just cutting it first.
Mhm,
So I worked a little with Clo 3D, and that's where sort of I developed my initial patterns and like playing around with like a square space and try to like manipulate the fabric and see
mm,
how it'll create a zero waste pattern.
mm.
So that was like my initial development for the silhouettes. And
Oh,
yeah, it really helps in the long run rather than just cutting up a fabric and stitching it together or making a paper pattern. Then you really know what your silhouette is going to look like at the end of the day.
I see. Interesting. Okay. How long did it take you to figure this out or to learn
Uh,
this?
yeah, I think I'm still learning because I'm still trying to practice with Clo and now Browseware as well. So so it takes a lot of effort because then there are some stuff which you have to just go on YouTube and see, okay, how to do this, how to add a frill, stuff like that. So it's a very slow process, but
So
I feel
millennial.
like yes, but it's very good to have in your hand. It's very handy.
Definitely. I mean, bow down. I really don't know where you took the patience. that's that's incredible. And uh, so going back to the fashion wastage, and that is something that you've explained actually really well before as well. Um, so if you can tell me a little bit more about, the impact and what exactly are the harmful chemicals that are being produced within the fashion industry?
So I think that's especially when it comes to denim.
Mm,
If you like, because I see there's even this time there are a lot of up, light wash denims in the market, and also in a lot of shows and all this you get like very like bleached down, very light colored looking denims, which is the
mhm.
worst, which is the worst to buy because that has been gone through a lot of chemical processes, a lot of drying cycles, a lot of bleaching cycles. So
Mm,
that's why I like to work with raw denim fabric, and
mm,
which takes less water and less chemicals. Like there's a chemical called potassium permanganate where they used to wash down the jeans, which is very, very bad for the environment. And
mm,
also the washing stones. It creates this residue once you wash it, and also bleach, which is
mm.
one of the main ingredients used to wash down jeans. So it's terrible to get into a stream, or like if you are exposing it back again to the environment, it's terrible for the soil and also for all these water bodies.
Mm. Okay, interesting. So, everyone should basically say goodbye to their favorite white jeans.
No, not really. There's an option for that. You can either go for ozone wash denims, or like a laser burnt denim, which does not take water. and then you have water-free enzymes as well. So you can use those sustainable methods to have your most favorite gene. And it'll be a little pricey because of this technology. So I think that's why it's very, very important to look at your tag, how it's made, and what are the sustainable steps taken by the uh, company to make your jeans more sustainable.
Definitely, that's true. What was your favorite shop to shop your clothes, or do you already just design your own?
Most of the time I tend to design my own garments, and then I tend to either buy it from a charity shop, or which is very rare in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And so I take it from my friends, or swap clothing. But I think I have stopped buying clothes for almost 2 years now. I haven't bought anything new. Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean that's exactly what I'm missing so much in Hong Kong. Like there are just not any secondhand shops or not any charity shops. So I really hope that people will realize that, this is something that has nothing to do with your status or the way how you look, but literally like helping out the environment. So it's really nice to hear that from, such an inspiring fashion designer like yourself, that, there's always a solution. So it's very nice. But you mentioned the basically greenwashing and coming back to classic fashion brands that everyone knows. But can you think of like probably the worst example of greenwashing?
Uh, I don't think I'm allowed to say this because I worked with a couple of brands before in my previous place of work, so I don't think it's very very smart to say it.
But yeah, I was wondering about like what did you see? Like what happened?
Okay, the best example. So I think you will probably like pick up a little hints.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm not saying
so a couple of weeks back, I was in the UK for my graduation, and so I walked into a lot of shops to see what they have and how they have marketed it to, how they are trying to sell their products.
Mm,
And so, like, I went to this one of the worst fast fashion shops, and I think they were selling this t-shirt for around £2, and
wow.
they call it made with organic cotton. And then I was just thinking, oh wow, how the how on earth did you make it £2 with organic
Yeah.
cotton, and also the labor cost? It just is
Mm,
not possible. There is something very, very dodgy about it. It's just plain out there in the plain sight. And
mm,
that was like my biggest shock when it comes to greenwashing. I was just like, it's just they have just call it organic cotton. There's no way you
yeah.
can produce it for £2.
Put the
And
green label on it and be like,
exactly, I'm
well,
pretty sure, like, because they have said with organic cotton, I'm sure, like, because fabrics comes in different compositions. Like, just say
mm,
you can maybe get 100% cotton fabric, and then you can get like fabrics which is like 80% normal conventional cotton, and then 20% organic cotton. I'm
mm,
pretty sure that blend must have been definitely like less than 20. So it's like, even if it's 1% organic cotton, in your
mm,
marketing campaign, you'll put it as, okay, it's made with organic cotton blends. But then the person wouldn't know whether it's actually the percentage of it. Probably it's 1%, and it won't even make a difference.
definitely. I sort of wonder what would happen, if you would call their hotlink and be like, "Hi, I have a few questions about your organic cotton t-shirt. Can you tell me a little bit?" I think they would be absolutely shocked and wouldn't know like what to say. Um, so yeah, that's a big problem. That's crazy. So you went back to UK couple weeks ago?
Yes, in a sense, that was my graduation. I completed my master's in sustainable management, where
Okay.
I sort of, yes, because I mean, when I looked into sustainability, and I just didn't want to be like a designer who only thinks about the materials. I wanted to
Mm,
think about the whole supply chain, whereas transportation and how it's made and all that. So that is very important for me to study as well. So that's why I completed the masters. So yeah, I
mm.
was in the UK to participate for my graduation.
Okay, that's incredible. Congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
So what was your in like biggest like coming back to the whole chain that you just mentioned, the whole kind of um sustainable chain when it comes to from finding the labor, finding the material to the complete product? Is there any kind of like inspiration that you noticed or saw and you felt like, okay, I want to do that, or this is a great example for me and my work?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things is that the carbon footprint of transporting, especially, if you are doing online shopping, like really you are bringing cotton from somewhere and then you create the textile somewhere and then you ship the textile somewhere else and
Mm,
then it's stitched somewhere and then again you are labeled it somewhere and then you're buying it. So basically that garment has circled around the world couple of times. So
mm,
which it's like transportation itself a huge uh, issue because it emits a lot of carbon dioxide and which directly is a cause of global warming and all the other issues related to it. So I think it's very important to like work with a logistics company which is concerned about their carbon footprint and
mm,
maybe like they're very transparent about how they do things. So like when I was thinking about like having my own brand, I wanted to have work with a company which will be very good when it comes to their carbon footprint. And
mm,
also there are some textile manufacturers who just say, okay, it's sustainable, blah blah, it's organic cotton, but
yeah,
they might be lying to you. So you have to be very careful about the certifications and when they have gotten their certification and are they like, I mean, they could have gotten it like couple of years back and they
mm,
must be using it still without renewing it. Then there is
mm,
something fishy. You have to be very aware of when they have gotten the certificate and whether they are actually being sustainable. And
mm,
also, when you are manufacturing it, if you give it to a garment, you have to be really aware of how they will be using the labor, whether because in Sri Lanka, majority of these textile apparel industry sewing operators are women, and
mm,
you have to really see whether they are being treated right, whether they have been given enough salary or whether they have the infrastructure to really work because honestly the environment where they work in is pretty bad, so you have to be
mm,
very aware that you are making things right at their end as well because human capital is something which is very very important if you want to run a sustainable business model and
mm,
because people are the biggest factor and you want to be uh, a good designer and then you should treat your workers right. So that's also one of the biggest things which I got my head around when I was doing the masters.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful and so true. Um, so have you um oh God, I had a question and it completely left me. So okay, got it. What do you think then what should people do right now when they're looking for new garments? Should they shop more local instead of like, just to avoid the transport? Should they more like
Yes.
With
Exactly.
fashion designers? Okay.
I think so because the biggest thing is then I mean, if you are from a region where there are a lot of people who are making a lot of things, then try to always buy from a local designer and
Mm,
always before buying it, like read about how it's made and the story attached to it. Like I
mm,
think it's very important to know the person who made it and
mm,
like have an idea about the person because obviously that person sort of put their mind and body to it, making it, and then you should show some respect and really learn about the person and then purchase your garment because at that then you will think twice before throwing it away. And I think that will be like a big help at the end of the day to be sustainable as well, because then okay, I have bought this and I have actually helped this person and
mm,
the person who made it to create their livelihood. And I'm
mm,
wearing it with a lot of pride. I have given that person that respect, and I'm not going to throw this away.
mm. Definitely. That's key. That's key. Um, so coming back to your work, uh, is there something that you would like to explore or learn more about in the future when it comes to creating your new collection?
Yes, I think I love how zero waste patterns work, how unique it is because it doesn't look very commercial at all. And I think garments shouldn't look commercial because your whatever your trend you follow or fashion you want to wear is something which you always want to like express yourself with. And by wearing a very commercial piece, you wouldn't really, express yourself, and it's not won't give that statement. So
Mm,
because of that, I think I love how zero waste patterns look. It's very, very unique and geometrical.
mhm.
So I think that's why it should be something I am going to look forward to working with.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. So after going through the finals of Redress Fashion Design Awards, how or other way, what is your current inspiration after going through that process?
So I'm planning of creating this new textile with working with local artisans and trying to sort of inject new technology and sustainable washes to it and
Mhm,
see how that will work out, because one of the biggest problems with current traditional handmade fabrics is that it's too dense and it's hard for you to wear every day, like it doesn't feel very comfortable. So I'm
oh,
trying to develop sort of a technology by having a sustainable wash to this garment, like the textile, and
mhm.
so that it will be more wearable.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. That sounds like a lot of work. I
Yeah.
will. Okay, but that sounds. I'm so looking forward to it to see what you're gonna bring, and hopefully, I will be eventually able to make it to Sri Lanka on a boat or on a train, avoiding the plane as much as possible. But we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to ask you, like in general, what do you want the people to wear eventually? If, when you mention like the commercial garments, like what would you like them to feel when they wear your clothes?
So I really want them to like tap into the story and like learn about the story behind it, and then sort of like, be themselves wearing it, and I want them to feel comfortable.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. I'm in. Just to kind of put the cherry on the top, my last question is, what would you tell to people who are pursuing career in fashion or just kind of like thinking about doing something a little bit more creative um, when it comes to fashion? What would be your advice through the journey that you learned so far?
So, like couple of weeks, I've been like going back to my fashion school and lecturing students about new technology in fabrics and also about trends. So, I mean, when I was doing that, I thought, like these are new designers, and uh, there are going to be a lot of designers in the future as well. And I want them to sort of at least try and tackle one environmental problem through their garments, or make it
Mm,
like a piece to communicate a problem so that a lot of people are aware. They're not just blindly wearing it. So yeah, like I know no one can be 100% sustainable. It's not possible, and
mm.
but the journey matters. At least you trying it, inspiring people and educating them matters. I mean, if that's how you can contribute, then yes, great.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I'm so like hyper aware already with my impact. And yesterday, when I was getting ready for this interview as well, I was quite curious, like what my carbon footprint is. And my result was, even though because I'm vegetarian and I'm trying to like keep the air conditioning off and shop secondhand and all of these things and use stuff until they basically break apart. I was still a climate villain. That was my result. And I was like, wow, this is really bad. So I really need to kind of push my deal and push my work a little bit further. But yeah, I think this is so
I think
important.
you should maybe try and plant some trees.
Well, yeah, that's true. I feel like because I'm currently expecting a baby as well, so that's another
Oh, congratulations.
so that's going to be a massive carbon footprint with that. So yeah, I feel like I will have to plant like a forest at least. And I don't know where in Hong Kong, so we'll need to find out a little bit more. But anyway, this is it. Ruwanthi, thank you so much for responding all of my questions. This was great. How do you feel?
Amazing. I mean, I'm really impressed how you have like really looked at my collection. I'm really happy that you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm really happy that I met you. It was an amazing conversation today.
Oh, thank you so much. I will be back in touch with you with everything that I have. I was just wondering, would you mind sharing me a few photos of your collection and
Yes, of course.
pictures, or even, like sketches, anything from your background that would be great. So I can maybe put it in the article if you would be happy with me to do that. And then
Yes,
we
sure.
can awesome, that would be perfect. And then we can see if you would be happy with me eventually posting the video as well or not, or just sticking to the text. You'll see. Just feel free to post it and everything and just let me know. And
Okay,
yeah, I'll be
great.
back in touch with you. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this again. And yeah, have a lovely Thursday.
Yes, you do.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye.